Hello, this is Colin Doyle, Senior SC for Juniper Networks, and I was just having a conversation with a customer, actually an ISP talking about a customer, talking about different types of failover scenarios, and I got to thinking that it would be interesting to see what it would be like to have just discrete northbound ISP links that aren't reths. So in the design that I have right here, I actually have each of these links on my SRX cluster in each of these nodes, node 0 and node 1 in my active-active cluster, going up to these ISPs assigned to their own redundancy reth, and that reth is assigned to its own redundancy group. So in this case, I've got reth 1. It just has a single member. It's GE007. It's a member of a unique redundancy group. It's the only member of that redundancy group, and it's active on node 0. And then over here, we've got GE507 connected to this ISP. It's connected to reth 2. It's, again, the only member. It's part of redundancy group 3, again, the only member, and it's active on node 1. And this is meant to just sort of incorporate the link into the clustering protocols. When failover happens, the link gets pulled immediately, it'll get pulled. The behavior should be fairly similar in the event of a power getting pulled. And I just got to wondering, I would expect to see the times be the same for these, failure scenarios over here, scenario 3. So I'm actually going to try doing scenario 3.4, but now, if you look here, show interfaces, terse, reth 1, you'll see that that just isn't there anymore, and reth 2, that isn't there. And I can show you that I've actually just moved the configuration over to, that's the wrong interface, over to the actual interface itself. So there's verify. And I've already checked my peers, show BGP summary, and I can see that, the peers are all up, and I have BiDi here. I can ping the remote site, and I can ping back to myself. So everything is as it was when I was doing my test, 3.4. The only difference now is that the ISP links aren't in reths. They're just in normal ports. We've got BFD turned on, so this is 3.4 scenario, and we're just going to see what happens when I pull the power. So let's see if this goes any faster. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, out. Now, the original test, this took over a minute. We lost, I don't know, things here and there. So let's just see what happens. I mean, what has to happen here is, let me see, 1 minute, 35 seconds. When the routing and the control plane flips over, it still has to spin up all the processes. This isn't like having dual REs where the other REs kind of humming along, and then you have, reth enabled, and it's a really smooth handoff. The cluster stateful, and you'd actually have to have redundant links across both clusters in order to make this slightly, to limit the pain of that convergence. And this is kind of how this conversation got, brought up. And that was that I was being asked, is it better to bring, these single ISP links in, like say your branch location, and nobody gives you 2 links out of the same router. I've got a single Ethernet connection out of ISP1, I got a single one out of ISP2. So I bring them into my switch, the switch that's right there, presumably. Also usually like a, access switch as well. Do I bring it in there and then bring dual links out back to the SRX, or do I just land them on the SRX? And you're going to get faster failover. The considerations are really where you think your fault domain lies. If you think you have you're more likely to have, a power event knock an SRX out, you might consider that as being a better option. If you think it's more likely that you're going to lose the link to the ISP, or the ISP CPE is going to have a problem, there's just going to be issues with that link, then, you can stick with just, the normal configuration, because here you can see your GRE keep alive, you get sub 5 seconds, you turn BFD on, you're at like a second. If it's a power event, you might have a different, fault domain for that. You also might, be in a situation where you can't tolerate a minute of downtime. So it's a blend of technical and business decision. But as you can see here, it doesn't really make a difference. I like having it as a member of the reth interface, just so that it's a part of that clustering. It doesn't really make a difference, so it's just more personal preference. Thanks for watching.